Hey there, how are you? As I'm recording this, it is the end of the month. We are wrapping up January, and it's so important that we take the time to reflect on prior months because oftentimes when we have a month or a day or a year that we just feel like was really tough or really hard or we didn't feel that great about, we just brush it off, push it aside, and don't really take the time to recognize, what were the challenges, but what did we overcome? And what were the things that we felt like we did better than we did in the past? Or what were the things that we enjoyed still in that day or as part of the journey? So just remember each day is what you have, and showing up for yourself each day looks different, but take the time to pause and reflect rather than just letting life pass you by without recognition of what you have enjoyed or accomplished or what you have to look forward to, in the coming months, and bringing your valuable attention on the things that you can do rather than focusing on the things that you can't do. Because where our energy and focus goes, our choices and actions go. So if we're constantly focusing on the limitations and the things we can't do, that's where we're going to stay stuck there. But if we're recognizing that was really hard and uncomfortable, but here's what I did differently, or here's what I could do differently next time, then we grow and we're able to see the opportunity and focus on the things that we can do. I cannot emphasize the benefit of how you start your day in a positive way, because so often we let everybody else or our environment decide how our day is going to go. So rather than immediately grabbing for your phone in the morning and starting to scroll on your phone on social media and comparing yourself to everybody else and getting down on yourself about what you're not doing or what the weather is today, and oh, it's so cold and it's rainy and I'm going to be in a bad mood because of the weather. Or maybe you're checking an email that's not the greatest, or you get a message from somebody. Those are all the things that are starting your day. Versus if you can say, okay, I'm going to take time for myself before I move into all of these things that are going to get thrown at me, and set the tone of how I want my day to go, and starting it with clarity, with peace, with joy, with space for myself. And something that's been so helpful for me is taking time before, a few hours even before I move into my work related tasks. And after I do my workout in the morning, I get on the treadmill and at a very easy pace, I read, watch, or listen to something positive. So I'll put a YouTube video on and I'll listen to a motivating message, or I'll listen to a podcast, or, doing something where I decide that's how I'm going to show up today. And that's the value that I can bring to others. And it's just so empowering when you can, make those choices for yourself. Another thing that can be limiting when it's darker in the morning is really setting your environment up, because when it's dark, we kind of feel like, oh, I should just be sleeping now. And that's a natural feeling because melatonin levels naturally will rise when it's dark and make us feel tired, but they also slowly decrease with light and make us feel awake and like it's time to start our day. So when you wake up and it's dark, set your environment to feel inviting. Turn on lights, turn on the fireplace, light candles, put on a diffuser with essential oils, play relaxing music, and set the tone for that space versus just letting everything else decide. So I hope that was helpful in just transitioning into the new month. But the reason I really wanted to jump on here and talk to you today was talking about weekends, weekend awareness, and how to not let weekends completely derail all the progress and the effort that you make during the weekdays, because this is a very common limiting factor I see with so many people I work with, conversations I have with people, myself included. This is a time where we have the opportunity for more flexibility, more freedom, more fun, all these wonderful things. And it's not a bad thing. it's a great thing, but it's learning how to navigate these elements of your life in a way that you also don't feel completely out of control. And like every Monday, you just feel like so awful and completely overwhelmed with all of the things that you now have to do that you didn't do over the weekend. So I wanted to share with you some tips that were helpful for me this weekend. We had company in town, and my sister, her husband, and their daughter Reese came to visit, which is always super special and fun. Reese is almost 2, so she's got tons of energy. She's got a personality, so it's really fun to have her stay with us. But this definitely throws things into a different schedule and routine and, different things than we would typically be doing, which is great. But I wanted to share some things that I really try to focus on in these times to still help me feel my best. And, just to emphasize, I'm not perfect. I don't do everything perfectly, but I do try to embody the things that help me feel my best and the things that I'm sharing with other people to do in their lifestyle. I think it's important that I'm walking the talk and I'm doing the things and not just saying like, these are the things that you should be doing, but I'm doing the complete opposite, behind closed doors. So the first one is sleep and wake times. So I value sleep so much because I know when I get a good night's sleep, it positively affects every other aspect of my day. Alternatively, when I don't get enough sleep or my sleep is disrupted, it plays a role in the food choices I make, the energy I have throughout the day, how I feel my workouts, motivation, productivity, focus, all of those things. So even when we have company in town, I really make an effort to go to bed at similar times and wake up at similar times because I still feel like I am being with everybody throughout the day and, really engaging with people. And I don't have to take a nap in the afternoon, right? So I can take this time for myself and just say, hey, I'll catch up with you guys in the morning at breakfast. I don't really feel like I'm missing anything. And I also try to wake up at this similar time and have time for myself, do some kind of movement in the morning to start my day with my own time. So I still try to wake up early, do a workout, take my time for myself. And then when I come upstairs from the basement, everybody's getting up and we're going to do breakfast and coffee. And I feel like I can be really present and available to everybody else because I've taken this time for myself and it makes me feel really good. So that is the first tip is sleep and wake times. The second one is prepping foods for future meals when you're already in the kitchen. So when we were preparing a meal or making something in the kitchen, I tried to make another food option. So one day I cut up a sweet potato and something else was roasting in the oven. So I threw the sweet potato in a sheet pan, set the timer, put it in the oven. We were all in the kitchen doing things anyway. So it didn't really feel like a burden or like this extra stressful thing. And we had this other food ready to go for an upcoming meal. One night when we were making a protein for dinner, I tried to make another protein source when we were already, in the kitchen making some options. And then each night we tried to make a really big salad as just a side and use whatever we had, in the fridge. So one night we did this big salad with shredded carrots and pepperoncini and bell peppers, grape tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes, crumbled cheeses that we had, and made this the base of the meal and then had the other fun things that we can mix in there. So you're adding like volume and nutrient density to the meal, which also helps to displace some of the calories from the other higher calorie foods maybe that are at the meal, like mashed potatoes or, like a heavier cut steak. So it's helpful to have that as just an option and then just changing it up with toppings. So another night we did like a Greek style salad and added chickpeas and olives and feta and some different kinds of vegetables on there. So we just used what we had and made it fun and different and put out a variety of dressings on the table so everybody could make it their own. Also, if there's different preferences or, food allergies or whatever that you're trying to work with as well. So that was number 2, prepping other foods for future meals and having a variety of options. Number 3 is having balanced meals within the day. So this is oftentimes something that's lacking, because we'll have like a big meal and then not eat for a long period of time and then go into a later meal feeling ravenous or starving. And that's when we're more likely to overeat at that meal and just not feel as good. So just having, intentional meals throughout the day, it doesn't have to be anything crazy or fancy, but, within 4 to 5 hours apart, try to have something more on the balance side. If you are going to be gone for the day, think ahead, pack some options with you. And that helps to go into upcoming meals with more stable blood sugar, feeling more in control, and being able to make better choices without feeling like the need to overeat as well. Number 4 is drinking your water. So this is so important every day, but even on the weekends, when also we're probably having more things that dehydrate us, like alcohol, caffeine, other things that we add into the mix is fine, but the hydration piece is so key. So my family always has like our water bottles in the kitchen. So we know whose is whose. It's always with us and we're drinking that throughout the day. But then at the mealtime, we're having, glasses of water at the table. So we try to have water with all the meals and mixing that in with other fun drinks as well. So always have your water with you and try to have different cups, in the kitchen so you know what's yours when you have a lot of people there. Number 5 is fitting in what you value into your day and into the meal and leaving the rest, just because there is an opportunity for a lot of more fun foods and options doesn't mean that you have to have everything or eat everything that's there. So what do you really value from the day? Is it going to be, the cocktails? Is it going to be dessert? Is it going to be some of the fun things at brunch, and maybe like picking something from each meal that you're going to enjoy in a realistic way and balancing it better with another option. So for example, for breakfast, you're going to have pancakes, which is fine. Maybe have some eggs on the side for protein, so you're keeping your blood sugar more stable. Add some fruit for fiber and just keep the portions in check. Maybe you want to have some dessert later. So being realistic with how much you're having at the meal, maybe skipping a second cocktail and having some dessert, or just having a few bites of the dessert and really paying attention to how you feel at that moment too, which is a huge piece I'm working on with my clients, is recognizing, checking in with how they feel and what they really are valuing from the experience. Last tip, number 6, is mixing in meals from home most of the time as well. So it's okay to go out to eat sometimes or order food, but if you're doing that for every single meal of the day on the weekends, it's going to likely add up a lot more than you realize, just because the way foods are prepared, a lot of times the things that we're choosing, aren't as healthy or balanced. And so if you're mixing in more home cooked meals, you have a little more control over those things, and you can still make it fun and enjoyable. And we love to do that, when we have family, is to involve other people and just think ahead of some meal ideas that you want to do and prep some things ahead of time while giving yourself some variety. And it actually eliminates the mealtime stress because you have that option ready. So for example, when we had family here this weekend, we went to the ice castles on Lake George, which is this like huge ice, fairy tale festival. They have these amazing ice sculptures and it's super fun to see. But we did that earlier in the afternoon versus later at night. So we could go enjoy that and then come home, and we had dinner ready to go. We did a minestrone soup that my mom started to prepare earlier in the day. I pitched in with making a salad at that point. And, we had some toasted bread, we had some wine. So it was just really fun to come home to a nice warm meal that we could all enjoy together and eliminate the stress of going out to eat and figuring out where to go and getting a reservation and, just all the things that can happen when we don't have a game plan with meals. So mixing in fun meals for breakfast, for lunches, for dinners. We had some family over in the afternoon and we made like a little snack board, which was fun, but I tried to incorporate some vegetables in there. So I did some cut up carrots and added hummus, in addition to the crackers and the pretzels and the chips and what else did we have? Like olives and cheeses and those kind of things as well. So I just try to add in some, other nutrient dense options in the fun snacks as well. So those are the 5 tips: focusing on sleep and wake times, getting enough sleep so you don't have to sleep or nap during the day and you can enjoy your time with everybody. Prepping foods for future meals while you're already in the kitchen doing that. Focusing on trying to have 3 balanced meals throughout the day. Drinking enough water, hydration, fitting in what you value, and leaving the rest. And last is mixing in more meals from home, even on the weekends. So I would love to know what you found most valuable. What is the tip that you're going to focus on the upcoming week? Or what is some tips that you found helpful for yourself when you have company in town or navigating weekends to feel your best? Because there's really nothing worse than waking up Monday morning feeling like you have to start completely over. You don't feel good. You feel bloated. And then you have all these other things with work and the kids, and you haven't gone to the grocery store and you don't know what you're going to have for your meals. It just makes you feel so much worse than if you can weave in these habits throughout your weekend. Walking into Monday, like having a game plan and feeling good is the best feeling ever, ever, ever. So even mixing in, grocery shopping earlier in the weekend and prepping some foods can be so helpful in setting you up to feel your best on Monday. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Comment below. Let me know what is one thing you're focusing on throughout the weekend, and I will see you in the next video.